My fiancé said I was pathetic and broke, then married a rich lawyer. My AI company just ruined his entire industry. Here is the revised story with the necessary safety adjustments and polished flow. My ex-fiancé Brooke and I met in a ridiculous way. I was a 29-year-old guy, dead-eyed from coding for 12 hours straight in the library at 2 a.m. when Brooke, 26, with perfectly styled hair and a coffee cup, tripped and spilled her latte all over my laptop. Most people would have lost their cool, but I just looked at her and said, well, at least now my code has some flavor. She laughed instead of running away. We were together for 4 years and engaged for the last 8 months, genuinely believing we had something real. I had proposed with a ring I'd saved up for 6 months to buy, and she said yes, crying happy tears. We posted pictures on social media with captions about forever. She'd come over to my 3rd floor walk-up apartment, which was maybe 600 square feet. The building had character, which in real estate speak means everything's broken and the landlord doesn't care. But Brooke seemed to love it. We decorated with string lights from Target and posters I'd collected over the years. Then there was my rescued tabby cat, Python, who had an annoying habit of knocking everything off every surface. But every night, without fail, he'd curl up between us on the bed. Brooke always claimed she was more of a dog person, but I'd catch her having full conversations with Python when she thought I wasn't around. Brooke's family never explicitly said they hated me. Instead, I got the death by 1,000 paper cuts treatment. Her mother would always give me that dismissive look. Her father had this way of asking about my little computer project with the same tone you'd use to ask a kid about their imaginary friend. Real supportive energy there. Their family dinners were like performance art, where I was both the audience and the punchline. But here's the thing. Back then, Brooke seemed different. She'd roll her eyes at their country club drama and make jokes about how stuffy they were. We'd be eating Chinese takeout on my futon, watching movies on my laptop that took 5 minutes to buffer anything, and she'd tell me none of the money stuff mattered. Turns out, that was total nonsense. The first real crack in our relationship happened about 6 months before the end. Brooke's college roommate was getting married. I saved up for months to rent a decent tux and buy a wedding gift. Being engaged ourselves, I thought this would be fun, a preview of our own future wedding. When we got to the reception, it was like stepping into a different world. Ice sculptures, live orchestra, champagne that probably cost more per bottle than my monthly grocery budget. Everyone looked like they'd stepped out of a magazine, and I felt like I'd wandered onto the wrong movie set. Brooke fit right in, of course. She was in her element, chatting with old classmates about their jobs at investment banks and consulting firms, their new apartments in trendy neighborhoods, and their expensive vacation plans. Meanwhile, I was standing there nursing a single drink, trying to make conversation with people who kept asking what I do, and then losing interest the moment I mentioned startups. Brooke had specifically requested not to sit with her college friends because they can be a bit much, but somehow we ended up at a table full of her parents' friends instead. Older couples with serious money who spent the entire dinner talking about their stock portfolios and real estate investments. When they asked about my work, I tried to explain my startup in terms they'd understand. Big mistake. One guy literally laughed and said, "Still playing with computers, huh? When are you going to get a real job? Especially now that you're getting married. Time to grow up." And here's the part that stung. Brooke didn't defend me. She just looked embarrassed and changed the subject to the bride's dress. Later, when I brought it up in the car, she said I was being too sensitive and that I should have just played along better. The second incident happened a few weeks later, when her mother invited me for coffee without Brooke, just the two of us. We met at this upscale cafe in her neighborhood, the kind of place where a basic latte costs $8 and everyone looks like they're conducting important business meetings. She showed up 15 minutes late wearing designer everything and didn't apologize, just launched straight into her agenda. "I've been thinking about your situation," she said, like my life was a problem she needed to solve. "And I have some connections who might be able to help you find something more stable." She pulled out a folder full of job listings she'd printed out, entry-level positions at banks, insurance companies,